Horrific images are coming out of China with a huge COVID wave battering the communist country. Hospitals are overflowing with patients. The situation is especially severe in towns and cities that are right away from Beijing. Now, the Chinese Center for Disease Control and Prevention only reported about 4,000 to 5,000 COVID cases per day, even though multiple reports suggest that the country is reporting more than 1 lakh cases every single day. As far as the death toll is concerned, China says that there were no deaths due to COVID-19 in the last 5 days, but other media reports suggest that the country is witnessing about 5,000 deaths on average per day. Some more breaking inputs also now coming in of China easing the rules for travelers. China has decided to drop COVID-19 quarantine rule for inbound travelers from January 8th. This decision from China coming at a time when there is a surge in COVID-19 cases in the country. China announcing an end to the coronavirus quarantine rule for the inbound travelers from the 8th of January. An inexplicable rule that is coming in from China at a time when the world attention is on China because of the unprecedented rise in the COVID-19 cases. In fact, because of this new variant, the number of cases in China have seen a massive increase, and there are visuals that are coming in from China that show bodies piling up. Now, China first stopped issuing the details of how many coronavirus cases and deaths are being reported on a daily basis. After an appeal that came in from the WHO, it claimed that only about 5,000 cases were being reported and the number of deaths are very minimal. But the visuals show otherwise. There are bodies that have been piled up in the parking lots, several bodies also being stored in the mosques there. So the visuals speak about another reality in China. In fact, the National Health Commission also scrapped this rule now, which had been in place since the start of the pandemic 3 years ago. So a sudden decision of China to stop the quarantine for the inbound travelers. Now, this is likely to, of course, cause an increase in the number of cases as well. So these are the visuals that show the reality of China. In fact, these are human rights activists from China who have released these videos that show crematoriums flooded completely. My colleague Srinjoy Chaudhary joining us on the broadcast with the details. Srinjoy, there is already a surge in the COVID-19 cases, an unprecedented rise in cases, but China already facing flack, deciding to ease rules for the travelers.
According to many estimates, 250 million people in China have COVID. And of that 250 million, at least 1 million people are likely to die. So if 1 million people are going to die of COVID, then the situation is very dire, particularly because 1/6 of China has COVID, according to estimates. Now, of course, China has decided to drop COVID quarantine rules for inbound passengers, but travelers. It'll just have to see how the situation is, because things are so bad currently. How is it this something China is going to deal with? This is perhaps one of the worst attacks ever in any country of COVID. 250 million people. Yes, China is the most populous country in the world. Nevertheless, 250 million people is a lot of people.
Absolutely. And China has been wanting to put up a normalcy, and that's perhaps the reason why these restrictions have been eased. But an increase in cases in China would mean that the world would have to be more cautious. Srinjoy, thank you for joining us with those details. Slipping into a short break here.